I'm Chris Lee of VandySports.com, joined by Sean Williams, also of VandySports.com. Sean, a big day for the fans yesterday. Uniforms, that always makes a buzz when they were introduced. The build-up to it, the critiques, the endless discussion. There's a couple of big threads on the message board about this. Point is, people care. We care. And with that, we're going to break down the uniforms that Vanderbilt released yesterday in what Clark Lee is calling Team One, and certainly a lot to talk about with those.
Yeah, we are your Vanderbilt fashion statement show of record, and pretty interesting that people were kind of wondering if these new uniforms would kind of come to fruition with Clark Lee's first year. And I know there's been like some little teasers, like the old school Vanderbilt helmet was like behind Clark Lee's desk, and in certain pictures, and got people talking. And sure enough, Vanderbilt threw out the teaser that new unis were coming, and sure enough, here they are. So it's a nice clean look, kind of pretty much what you would expect from Clark Lee and his air, going back to a nice clean look. So we'll obviously talk about all that and stuff here in just a minute whenever we look at the video. And then, us fashionistas will talk about it as well. So
that's why people respect us. It's our fashion critiques of things. I mean, if that's not our brand, then
yeah.
You tell me what is,
look,
right?
man, we get tired of talking about football and basketball, sports, man. Let's just talk about uniforms and fashion. This is what this podcast is about. This YouTube video. So, yeah.
Well, if you're listening, you have probably seen the video, but perhaps you haven't, and it's worth seeing again a couple times. So go ahead, Sean, and I'll have you run the video on that so folks can see what we are about to go over.
All right, we'll let the tape roll. Yeah, sorry about that. I had the previous stuff pulled up. All right, so here we go. Here is the intro video to the new uniforms and obviously the new helmet there with the blocked V. So check this out. A little too loud. We'll just go without that noise. Chris, what were your initial thoughts on the intro video here? I think they did a good job with it.
I think it was really well done. One thing that's interesting about these, you can tell who the coaching staff maybe trusts as leaders. And so the guys we're seeing here, Cam Johnson, Camden Coleman, you're seeing Ethan Barr earlier in the video, Elijah McAllister. So I'm not going to say those guys are the four guys that are the quote-unquote team leaders. I think you'd have to put the quarterback room in there too. But it's interesting to see who actually makes the videos in terms of who's doing the modeling here. And so that was interesting to me.
Exactly, yeah. I agree with you too. It's kind of a nice little sneak into, I guess, kind of who they trust as players and obviously who's earned their numbers as well, right, Chris?
Exactly. Numbers, some were earned and some were handed out, as we found out last night through Clark Lee's press conference. But before we get into the uniform critique, Sean, let's pull up some pictures of some uniforms we liked before. We had about 4 shots from 3 different eras, so let's look at those. And then with that, we're going to go back and look at the uniforms that they just released. What that is a little bit of a guide, I guess, a good way to say it.
Right, and it's really cool, whenever all these uniforms kind of come out, it brings up nostalgic talk, of what uniforms were great back then and what people liked and maybe wanted to see kind of embedded in some of these new uniforms as well. So we'll pull up a couple of shots here and we'll start off. We're going to go really old school here, Chris, so you take it over.
Yeah, you were looking at the uniforms that the 1982 Hall of Fame Bowl team wore. That was a team, and I'm sure that sometimes an era influences things. Like if Vanderbilt maybe had not won a lot of games in 82 and gone back to a bowl, maybe people would view these differently, but I don't know. I just think this is a classic look. I will point out the things that I like in this uniform. First of all, I love the script Vandy. If you haven't noticed, right at the bottom of the screen, the VandySports.com logo Well, that was inspired in large part by those helmets there. And sticking with the helmets, here's some things I like, okay? I like the stripes down the middle. I always think that a helmet looks better with some stripes. So I like what they did there. I like the fact, and of course, this wasn't the deal. This is the way they did it then. But we've seen flat helmets, we've seen chrome helmets. I just like the classic glossy helmet look. And of course, we
Right.
get that there in 1982 because that's what everybody was doing. If you go down to the jerseys, the things I like, you've got the classic Star V logo on the shoulders. I think that's great. You've got the numbers, they're outlined, they're white, but they're outlined in black, so they're easier
Mm-hmm.
to see. I like the stripes on the sleeves. So again, really everything about these I like. No, it's old school, right? Jerseys were cut differently. You didn't have the short sleeves, and so fabrics and looks change with the times. But back then, for 1982, this was a phenomenal look, and I think still is. They could roll out in these tomorrow, and I would give them an A. I like the pants. Again, I like the stripes down the side of the pants, the gold with the black outline. I mean, Sean, you're really having to stretch to find things that you don't like with this uniform. The one thing that you will spot is the gold then is different than it is now. And frankly, I think I liked that shade of gold better than what they're using. But
Yeah.
when we'll get back to the uniforms they're doing now, I will point something out that's probably worth a mention. But for now, just dwelling on this look because this has been one of my frames of reference with uniforms. It's a clean, classic look that they had here. And again, you can nitpick some details, but I give this an A, especially for the times, because I think it just checks all the boxes. It's clean, it is iconic, it's not too cluttered. I mean, you might want the numbers a little bit smaller, but again, that was kind of the time. But I just think this is a winner here.
Yeah, I agree with you on all fronts on that. This is, I mean, honestly, just going back and looking at Vanderbilt uniforms throughout the years, this is probably my favorite as well, just because of the color. That you got the yellow jersey. I agree with you. I think this is the best looking color yellow. Or gold. I say yellow, but gold. This is the best color of gold, and you kind of see a problem with a lot of teams. They'll trouble having matching the gold with the gold that's on their helmet with their pants. I think Notre Dame's kind of had that problem a little bit before, but yeah, I love the and you kind of saw Vanderbilt tease that Vandy script helmet last year. They kind of had that version of that with like the Nashville skyline on the back of the helmet. So they kind of teased that. I would have liked to maybe have seen them kind of keep that. I don't know if they have it in the back of their mind to bring back those Vandy script helmets at some point, but this would be a great. Hey, if we go to a bowl game, let's bring out these bad boys. The Star V on the shoulder pads is awesome. And yeah, you can't go wrong with stripes on the shoulders, man. You just can't. And that's one of the things I really like what they did with these new uniforms that they introduced yesterday. They got these stripes on the shoulders or on the sleeves. Always loved that look. So yeah, this is a great look, and I agree with you, Chris. Just going back and looking at all the Vanderbilt uniforms in the past, this is definitely my favorite. So yeah, hopefully we'll see them bring these out. But I mean, I love these uniforms. So
Well, a sidebar here. Last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was, they announced they were going to roll out or hinted at something like these, and then they come out and it's a chrome, like it's a black helmet with the. I'm like, are you kidding
it was a
me?
disappointment.
Like
Yeah,
how you completely screwed that up. But I mean, that
right.
was keeping in theme with what they did with uniforms. So
Well, and that goes
um,
back to if this happened with Clark Lee, I think it would be simplistic, more simplistic, And you kind of mentioned the teasers and everything like that, and then they kind of went with, it's very flashy. You've got the Nashville skyline on the back of the helmet. I didn't really like that, to be honest with you. A little bit too much on a helmet for me. So, yeah, I think if they brought these helmets and stuff back out, I think you're definitely going to see a clean look like we got here.
if there was a consistent theme with the old uniforms, it was cluttered and gaudy, the ones that the Mason staff used. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think a lot of people share that complaint.
Right.
One
Well,
thing I do want to point out here in the picture, just as a historical note, what you're looking at on the picture on the right, that's Whit Taylor on the left. He was a starting quarterback. George McIntyre, the coach, in the middle, and Alamar Matthews on the right, who I think was a first-team All-American tight end, if not first, and I think second or third, and set, I think at the time, a lot of Vanderbilt records. So just in terms of footnote to history, if you went around, those were some of the iconic players, and of course the coach at the time.
Right, and I will go back. Well, let's just bring up the new picture here. We went old school. We both agree this is absolutely awesome look. Hope they bring it back someday, especially if they go to a bowl game. I think it'd be great to kind of throw these out there, like kind of like Notre Dame does with their green uniforms. Not to keep comparing Notre Dame, but just I'm throwing out comparisons out there.
But Notre Dame, and I'm sure this influenced Clark. Notre Dame is a school that gets the uniform right. Now, I do think that sometimes, like the metallic gold was a little overwhelming last year, but more often than not, they do those things pretty well. So anyway, Sean, let's get to the next pictures. While you're pulling them up, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at one from the Bobby Johnson era and also one from the James Franklin era. Okay, on the left, that's Jay Cutler. And I really liked Bobby's uniform combos. They might not have been the best, but one thing I can say about him, Sean, I didn't feel like they ever rolled out a bad one. You can see the gold is a little different here. Right. It's more like the gold they're using now. But the Star V helmet, that's one of the better helmets they've ever had. They mostly went with gold with his teams. I love the black pants there. Wish we had a better look at those from the side, but you can just see the stripe down the pants. To me, those might be the best black pants they've ever worn, and I think the rest of the uniform is a winner too.
Yeah, always, kind of go back to NCAA football 2006. I always liked playing with Vanderbilt. I loved throwing out the alternate jerseys, which were always the go jerseys here that Jay Cutler was wearing. So it was always kind of a cool look to me to kind of throw those out there. And yeah, it's always good looks during that era. In the Star V helmet is classic right there, especially the gold version of that. So I know, like, we're kind of looking here on the left, James Franklin kind of modified those helmets a little bit, which there's versions of that. Like, with the Franklin stuff, just kind of moving over to that, love this combination that Jordan Rodgers is wearing with the all white and the white helmet. I really like the pop of the Star V on the white helmet, and obviously you've got the three stripes down the middle. With those Franklin jerseys, I wasn't like necessarily a huge fan of the black helmets, just because I thought it was like, kind of interrupted the Star V a little bit, like in terms of the logo and everything like that. But the Star V really pops on these white helmets in the Franklin era there, so.
Yeah, those white helmets might be the best white helmets they've ever worn in the Jordan Rodgers picture. And I think that Watson Brown's teams wore some like those. And I believe, maybe I'm imagining this, they did have a sleeve stripe combo that was a little more dramatic than what you're seeing on the right there. One thing I do like, though, one thing that I think James improved on is you see the Vanderbilt across the chest. For a guy that was always trying to brand the program, it brought anchor down. I think having the name on the jersey there was a good thing. Not a lot that I can take away from that one that I don't like. Now, I'll tell you one thing that I like on these two that I don't like on the ones that Bobby Johnson's teams worn. If you look at Brian Stamper, I think that's him there, 62, or maybe not. That might have been Merritt Kirchhoffer. My numbers are getting blurred with time. But I didn't like the bigger number on the shoulder pads. I thought that was a little bit too much. You see the numbers are smaller on Jordan Rodgers and on the sides. I think that was a better look, but I really love both those combos, and the black pants that Cutler wore there in that one, I think those were really terrific looking pants. On the helmets, if I'm going to pick a flaw, I might have gone with the black stripe down the middle and white on the sides, but overall, both these are really good looks, and I think that those three uniform combos, we brought those up for a reason because I think that those came as close to hitting the mark as any uniforms they've ever worn.
Right. I agree. And so with that being said, we're going to flip the script and go to take a closer look. We just showed you the video. We're going to take a closer look and show you the pictures of these new uniforms. Here we go. Here is the first picture. Chris, what do you like about the white uniform and what don't you like about the white uniform? And I know where you're going to go because we're pretty much on the same page with this stuff.
Okay, let's start from the top down. Remember I said with the Cutler helmets, one thing I liked was the stripe. I probably would have liked a black stripe down the middle better, bordered by whites, but that look really pops with that gold, which is a little bit more toned down than the other one, which I think I kind of like that. I think I like the helmet shade a little better than
Mm-hmm.
what the Cutler teams wore because it's a little bit more muted. I love the stripes on the sides of the sleeves. I love the SEC patch. I love the Vanderbilt across the jersey. Now, I think if it were me, the one thing I don't like, and you're going to see this on the nameplate in a minute, I really hate this on the back. I don't like the gold lettering nameplates because they're hard to read. They're probably easier to read than I would have thought if you'd said they're going to put gold on white. But I think a black outline on those or something maybe looks a little bit better. I know that you're probably wanting to change up the black and gold right next to each other, and so that was
Right.
a logical place to add gold. What you could have maybe done is made the Vanderbilt black, made the numbers perhaps gold with the black outline. I don't know.
Right.
I'm sure there were some tweaks there. Overall, I like it, but my critique, and my biggest two critiques are going to be the gold lettering on black, just because I think it's not very readable, and the logo. I think you go with the star V. They went with the block V, which we'll see in a minute. But I really do like the look. I think I give this a B plus at worst.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said there. Obviously, when the video first came out, I saw the white and I'm like, ooh, I don't know about the gold on the white. I mean, it goes back to branding, right? You want to kind of have your name pop, and it doesn't pop as much with the gold on the white. I think you make the Vanderbilt black on that one, so the name really sticks out. And like you said, you kind of do a little bit more with the numbers in terms of making the number one here gold with a black outline. You throw some outline colors in there to make it a little bit more. You want to make it readable for sure, and I mean you want to make it readable, and we're media people, so we complain about readability, right? Especially with numbers and stuff like that. Obviously, we can see the numbers just fine, but reading names on the back. But I mean, for marketability on TV, you really want your name to stand out there, and maybe throwing some gold on white for the Vanderbilt was a little bit questionable, and maybe we'll give them a thumbs down for that. I think they should have went with just black there, and then just did a little bit something different with the numbers wise and everything. But yeah, just kind of following up with you. Obviously, the numbers on the shoulder pads, can't really tell what they look like on this picture, but that looks good. I mean, look, the stripes on this sleeves is awesome. That's just a great look, and I like just the kind of the simple two stripes. I mean, hey, if they threw some gold in the middle there, that would look awesome too. So I'm good either way, obviously. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. I don't know if you got any more to say about the white version of the new Vanderbilt jersey there, Chris.
Yeah, I think one thing is it's not overstated, right? It's a nice, clean, simple look. It's not too cluttered. I mean, you got the SEC logo and the Nike logos on the chest is where it starts to get a little cluttered, but I think you've got to kind of build those into design. So I don't really have a fault with that. I think that the overall concept, again, the flaws we're going to pick are more minor, although I think the logo is kind of a big one. But here's another thing I like: they've gone back to the glossy helmets with the simple black face mask, and I think that's a great look. I'm so
Yes.
sick of flat helmets. I know that was kind of in. And chrome helmets don't do it for me either. So I like what they've gone back to, with most of what we grew up with our entire lives as football fans.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I like the helmet color, which we didn't. You just kind of brought that up, but yeah, the helmet color with the gold, the black face mask. That's a good look right there. So, we'll flip the script here, and we'll move on to the next picture, which is your side view of the black jerseys. And love this combination, Chris. I mean, gold and black. You got the gold pants with the sleeve with the stripes down the side. Once again, you kind of accentuating the stripes on the sleeve. Great look. Even if you threw like some white in there, I mean, you don't really have to on these uniforms. You want to be simplistic, right? But the thing I think they really got that really kind of I like here, you've got the gold script on the black jersey with Vanderbilt, which does make that pop out a little bit more as opposed to using that same color on the white jersey. It pops out a little bit less, but obviously there was a lot of talk about this right here. the block V. Chris, let's start there. What is your thoughts on Vanderbilt ditching the star V, going with the block V?
Yeah, like I said, my two big criticisms of this are the gold lettering on black, which again, it does show up better than I thought. That's a small deduction. Look, this is a program that lacks identity, has lacked identity. They've done some things that have brought some identity to the program in recent years. The anchor down phrase got invented, that stuck. You have the Star Walk, you have some things that they're starting to finally bring tradition to a program that lacks it. The one thing that is recognizable with Vanderbilt as brand is the Star V. And to me, it's unforgivable not to have that as your main logo. I understand that we will probably see some alternate helmets that have got that. And I will say the same thing that I say with baseball. And actually, by the way, I like their football uniforms better than what they use for baseball. I like this new look better than their baseball stuff.
Okay.
Maybe it was trying to tap into the baseball brand, which good idea. But one thing I've never cared for with Vanderbilt's baseball caps, the main one, I don't like the block V. I think it's boring. I think it is indistinguishable from the other V schools. I mean, are we looking, if you don't know, are we looking at Villanova or Vincennes or Valparaiso? Who are we looking at here, right? You get the Star V, you know that's Vanderbilt, and I to me that's the one massive flaw in this. And again, they've got a chance to correct it. If that's going to be their main helmet and the Star V is their alternate, I think they can switch that up. I guess it wouldn't hurt my feelings if they wore the black V every now and then for whatever reason. But that is the one thing. The only time I'll use the word hate with what they've done is right here. I don't know how the Star V is not your main look.
Uh, Obviously, a lot of hate coming from you, Chris. You just compared them to Vincennes. I mean, come on.
Yeah, people will take offense to that. But my point is, okay, you finally established some identity, and I don't know why you go away from that, right?
No, yeah, I totally agree, and this is the most probably talked about aspect of the New Jersey on our message board is just not is ditching the Star V. It is a brand that is synonymous with Vanderbilt these last few years, and you kind of go away from it on your football helmets. Now, look, you can have alternate helmets, and I'm sure they probably will. And I'm sure as long as we keep making videos talking about it, maybe they will. I don't know. But not that we're influential people or anything like that. But yeah, ditching the Star V was probably a bad move here. I mean, just to, like you said, I mean, it's synonymous with Vanderbilt. Just having a block V on there, it doesn't really make you stand out. You know, the Star V does, you know, and people that see that Star V know that that's Vanderbilt. And yeah, they probably, to have that Star V on there and have it, have it on the side of that helmet, I mean, that would be a massive upgrade than the block V. So I'm not digging the block V at all. So
I think you've got some more images.
yeah, I do,
you?
man. I didn't know if you were dumb comparing Vanderbilt to Vincennes there on the block V.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are getting offended, but it's a joke, guys. Okay,
I know. Yeah,
my point is,
I just like how you threw in Villanova, Valparaiso, Vincennes. It's great.
That's all the V schools I can think of.
Yeah, well,
can
you
think of anywhere leaving out?
I can't. No, not off the top of my head. All right.
I feel like that should be a Sporkle game.
Front version of the best version of these New Jerseys. I mean, I like the white version too, but obviously, you know, we pointed out the flaws here, and this is the flaw on the white jersey right here, but it shows up great on the black jersey. The gold Vanderbilt right here in the middle, it pops really well on these black jerseys, so that's great. And yeah, it's just a great clean look, man. I mean, I have no complaints. We talked, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and dog the helmet and the block V anymore. We've been there, done that. But I mean, the front version of these jerseys is pretty rad. We don't have any complaint. I don't think there's anything to complain about, you know, when it comes to the jersey top and the gold pants, right, Chris?
Oh, that's a great look, and I can't see the pants in the shot I'm looking at, but the gloves too. The gloves are really sharp looking. I think there's a logo on the inside, like if you put your hands together, it forms a V or something. I think Gavin Schoenwald, I want to say, did that in part of the video. But Yeah, you know my complaints with the logo. So that aside, I've got nothing to pick a flaw
Oops.
with this. I think that just is a good classic look right there. It's clean. It checks the boxes in my mind.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at the screen and obviously the gold pants aren't popping up on this video, so my apologies on that. But I'm doing my best here as an editing extraordinaire.
Well, and we can go back and show the video one more time
Yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe
we
hit some
will.
things that
But
didn't.
here's obviously the last picture they have here on their official Twitter account, Vanderbilt football. Obviously, I think a little another thing we kind of missed here is because in these pictures, these players are kind of got their heads down. They're kind of showing off the color in the helmet here, but they do have the Star V logo here right on the front of the collar. So that's kind of a cool little addition that you kind of can't tell from these pictures. So, but obviously, look, this white jersey, like we said, it's a good clean look. Just that is an issue, and obviously, you talked about it, and you see it more on the video too. They use the gold here. That's going to be kind of hard to stand out on a white jersey. They also use it with the last name on the back nameplate as well, so that's going to be hard to see too. Especially on TV. And once again, we kind of go back to branding and marketing. You kind of want Vanderbilt to really stick out. You want that name to stick out and market yourself. So maybe a little bit of a flaw there, but overall, here's kind of a front view of the white jersey here. So I don't know if you want to pick this apart anymore, Chris, or not. So
No, I've shared my thoughts on the black jersey. They're the same here. I think it's a great look. I think that they picked a winner here.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, we've got just the script is really the only thing we really are complaining about. And obviously, the block V, and that's why. What was your overall grade on the message board, Chris? What was the overall grade you would like to give this?
I think the overall grade I give everything is a B plus. I love the look. The one thing that's unforgivable is not having the star V. If you change that, I think I give it no worse than an A minus. The only other thing would be the lettering, but you can still read it, right? It doesn't pop as much as you would like it to. And I
Right,
do wonder for fans in the stands when you're trying to read jersey numbers, how hard that's going to be, or names on the back of numbers. I mean, for us, we'll be fine. We'll have the rosters. We'll be in the press box. I mean, I will have covered so many practices that I will have basically memorized these by then. But if you're trying to be a little bit more fan friendly and getting to know the players, I wonder how that's going to be hard to read from the stands when you're looking at the gold on the white. But
right.
again, if they start rolling out the Star V helmet, then with these and kind of go away from the block V, I mean, to me, that's an A on the whole concept. Then you're just arguing, A plus, A minus, right? At that point, you've won. But I think these are great looks. I think it's a huge improvement over what the last staff did. I think that you see what they're trying to do in terms of simplicity and a classic look, and you can, like I said, you can take issue with the logo, but logo, no logo, they certainly accomplished this with everything they have done here.
Right, and obviously the big important thing here is you don't see the stitching, the gray
Or the
stitch,
chains.
the gray stitching, or the change. Yes,
No more
no
chains. I
more
think that's
chains.
something we can all, or the skylines on the back of the helmet, or the
Yeah,
chrome face
like I
masks.
said, that was like a huge disappointment last year whenever they brought those Vandy script helmets out, but they had the skyline on the back, and that was a terrible look for me personally. So anyway, not to sound like a crotchety old man, but here we go. How about the video one more time?
And Sean, as you're going through this, I've given you my grade. What is yours?
Yeah, I'd have to go. I'd have to go B minus. Overall, I really like it. The lettering on the white is an issue, and then obviously you're missing the star V on the helmet. That's a huge issue. So yeah, overall B minus. So
We see some of the pants here. We didn't really get to talk about those because we couldn't see them in the shot. I think the pants were really good. I think that's part of it. But there's the gloves that we talked about. Um, how you've got the branding in there. They go with the uniforms. I think that's another nice little touch. So
right.
Yeah, think again overall, well done. And the things that I didn't like are things that they can easily correct.
Right. I don't see a pair of black pants in here, Chris. Is that gonna bother you?
I can live with it, right?
Okay. I think the black pants would go really good with some gold. You know, I didn't see a gold jersey, but hey, if you're gonna prop a gold jersey out there, you gotta have some black pants.
Who knew we could spend this much time breaking down fashion choices?
We have gone 30 minutes talking about new jerseys and fashion. A new a new frontier at vandysports.com.
What other talents do we have that people just don't know about?
We can display all kinds of weird, nonsensical talents on this YouTube channel, and we're going to do that moving forward for sure.
Yeah,
Anything
maybe folks shouldn't encourage that, but
anything else you'd like to add to Jersey Fashion Show 1.0?
no, I will just say that we are trying to increase our presence on our YouTube channel and do some things here and there. We are airing the press conferences. So if you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that. You can help us out with that. That helps us get some exposure. So we plan to do some things here and there. We're working out the technical end of it. Spent a lot of time pre-production today trying to figure out some little tweaks here and there to make this look professional. But that is going to be something we're trying to do, is trying to bring you more video content. And we just saw this as an opportunity to do that. So hope you like what you saw. Like uniforms, we can improve what we're doing, and we will. But it was a start. And John, I appreciate you coming on here with us today.
Yeah, like I said, I saw the video coming out and saw them teasing. I'm like, hey, it'd be a good little. Well, I thought it'd be a quick video, and here we are, 30 minutes in. We're still talking about these jerseys, man. So we're all hyped up about it. But yeah, you mentioned our YouTube channel. We've gained some subscribers since practice has started. Obviously, you've done a great job of putting up Clark Lee's press conferences on there. We've got some new comments. So always comment on our videos. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the thumbs up. That always helps out with our analog system and all that YouTube stuff. So yeah, any feedback, please hit us up in the comments, and we'll keep this thing rolling.
Well, and one more thing, we are going to try to bring the podcast audio back to the YouTube channel too. I switched servers, or hosts, excuse me, and the one I've switched to suited us for better reasons, but one thing it does not have was the automatic upload to YouTube. So people are watching this going, where did the podcast go? Well, you can get that where you subscribe to your podcast, but people watch them here too. And so that's going to be a fix that we're going to try to usher in, say, over the next few weeks, if we can get that in figured out. There's a file format issue that we haven't quite been able to resolve, but that is on the table for things we want to do, because I know some people do listen to the podcast on YouTube. That kind of went away a year ago, but we're going to try to bring that back.
All right. With that being said, anything else to add, Chris?
No, again, appreciate your time here. Appreciate people listening. And again, he's Sean Williams. He's our recruiting analyst at Vandy Sports, but he doubles also as a uniform critic. Every now and then as a team analyst, whatever we need you to do, you're like our utility man, and we appreciate you for that, Sean.
Yeah, thank you. Always a pleasure, Chris. Been part of the site for 6-7 years now, so I'm a man of many trades. So YouTube editing is one of them now.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, thanks to Sean Williams. I'm Chris Lee, the publisher at VandySports.com. We appreciate you watching our video today. Be sure to stay tuned for more content here on our podcast feed and, of course, at the site at VandySports.com. Thanks for watching today. We'll catch you again very soon.